Meeting a new teacher can be a little nerve-wracking, especially if you don't know anything about them. So let's get to meet Mr. Ferguson.
A big part of at least my experience of those years, teen years, early 20s, was just being really honest with myself about what I wanted to do, to experience, and what I wanted to contribute to society. When I was younger, both my parents were teachers, and in the summers my dad fought forest fires. He would work long days, usually getting home around 11 o'clock at night. I would wait up to see him, just to make sure he was okay, and I'd be excited to see him. And while I was waiting up those summers to see him, I started watching late night TV. And at that time I was watching The Tonight Show, which Jimmy Fallon hosts now. I just became really interested as a 5-year-old. Man, that's what I really want to do. It looks like such a fascinating job. And I actually started writing letters to Jay Leno. He ended up hosting, and he wrote me a letter back, which I couldn't believe. So for a couple years, we were in touch by phone, and I got a chance to go out and see a taping. It was right around the time I was 14, and that really just cemented for me, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but my goal is I want to figure out how to work in late night TV. So after I graduated from college, I went to New York, and I didn't have any friends who worked in TV. I didn't know how to work in TV. I just knew I wanted to do that. And so I took my resume to the Ed Sullivan Theater, which was the theater where The Late Show with David Letterman was taped. And I went up to a security guard, her name is Ileana Garcia, and I said, if anyone in this building will look at my resume, will you please give that to them, because I'd love to work here. My favorite part of the show every day was right around 3:10, I would go down to the theater where we taped, and I would get to see the musical guest for that day, cameras off, just rehearsing, just practicing, so just trying to get into the zone. In 2007, 2008, while I was living in New York, I started volunteering for Barack Obama, who was running for president at that time. I decided to leave The Late Show, which had been my dream job, to initially to volunteer full-time on the Obama campaign. What was on my heart was, there's a quote that I've heard before that I really like, is what you risk reveals what you value. I'm willing to take a risk that if I walk away from this dream job, it's because I value so much what vision Barack Obama is putting forward for our country. And the main job that I did was initially, it's what's called a White House liaison. And what that means is that I kind of have one foot at the White House and I have one foot at the US Department of Education. And my job is to make sure that the White House and the Department of Education are talking to each other, that they're all rowing in the same direction. I didn't, especially when I was like 14, 15, 18, 22, I didn't necessarily have a game plan to go work for David Letterman and then the president, and then, it wasn't something I could foresee for myself, but I had a sense of what mattered to me and was willing to work hard towards that and to put myself out there.